Hey everyone, it's James at geometricharts.com, about 4:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, October 15th, 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, BTC, USD on the Bitfinex exchange. So the video is not investment advice. A lot of people are wondering how I was able to come up with the tide change, for lack of better words, and that the pop was going to occur, which I talked about in last night's video with a quick update. Basically, like one of my subs from a follow-in pattern that we discussed and we traded last time during the last big pop, brought something up to my attention on his chart, and he was like, hey, this looks kind of similar. So now I started looking through my charts, the daily charts, different time frames, and everything was like lining up. And I could see that we had this really tight coil formation forming in Bitcoin. And in any asset, it can lead to very big and powerful moves. It may not happen immediately, but it can happen, shortly after, and therefore it did. And I told everyone that if it was going to happen, it was going to happen overnight, New York Eastern Standard Time, and it did. It did. It happened in the late hours around, I think, was that like the 2 o'clock, possibly like 2 a.m., maybe like somewhere between 2 and 4 a.m., a monster spike to the upside, gigantic move. Again, I think a lot of this is noise. We'll see what happens here, but we made that big pop, so everything came to fruition. We have a big increase in volume, up to 7.1 or 7.2 billion now on the 24-hour transactions, and things look good for potentially more upside in Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin is going to continue to drop lower. I think it does have more upside in this run. This is a mega spike. I'm really surprised to see this. Obviously, we have the tether issue, but besides that, like removing everything in the news, removing tether, like any of that, just removing all of that and looking at the chart, that's how I was able to come up with my conclusion on what I thought was going to occur, and it did. So I'm glad I was able to pop that video out there. I was a little hesitant in that video, very, very hesitant, to say the least. And because I knew that once I talked about this, and once you talk about these pops, that people go nuts. And the last thing I wanted was people to jump into Bitcoin with no investment strategy at all, and this move goes south. And it easily could have went south, right? Nothing is ever guaranteed in any market. So people treat this market like it's guaranteed to make them rich. But anyways, nothing is ever guaranteed. And the last thing I wanted to do was put that out there, and then people just get absolutely wrecked and murdered overnight. And it can happen. It can easily happen in this market if you do not have an investment strategy. So anyways, that's basically how I formulated, or how I came up with this idea that we were going to get the pop. Now I came up with the trade, and boom, lo and behold, it all worked out, and everything's worked out very, very well. What I need to wait on now is, does the new volume stick around? And that's been one of the biggest problems for Bitcoin, is it's had a continuous washing of volume, and it's had that. So I still think there's more upside, but if that volume does not stick around, and we went from almost like 2.9 to about 7.2 now billion, if that volume does not stick around and just gets siphoned right out of the market again, then I think we can all assume what's going to happen, and it's probably not going to be good. Now, I don't think necessarily we're going to have the end of Bitcoin here, but there is room for some whipping. Now, if you remove this visually from your mind, okay, the move is not so big, right? It gave back a lot of that move to the upside. So this is in reality where Bitcoin is. So I still think we're going to trek a bit higher. I don't know, I'll have to see exactly how this all pans out over the next few days to get a better idea of where I think it's going to go. But it looks like another smaller move. It looks like we're just going to kind of reiterate the same pattern, dwindling down, and now we're kind of rounding out in this sense, right? So this goes all the way back to my older videos. In my older videos, I talked about the time element that no one, or very few people, were going to stick around for. And guess what we had? Ever since that 6,000 bottom, that time element has been eating Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market away. And we have basically stayed completely horizontal. Now everything is stepped down and we're consolidating, and that's fine. I believe what this market is doing is returning to normalization. This is probably where Bitcoin should have topped out. In reality, this is where the powers want to hold Bitcoin at, and this could become the top and the floor for Bitcoin for an extended period of time. Everyone's thinking Bitcoin's going to go to 20,000. Everyone thinks it's going to go, 700,000, all these crazy numbers, right? Because of this and because of that, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. At the end of the day, the market is heavily, heavily manipulated, and somebody definitely, or some group of people, definitely have a stranglehold on this market. And this market is not going to be, it looks like, allowed to really trade outside of these zones anytime soon. And what we could just be doing is forming out that big bottom. And if that's going to happen, that's going to last all year, probably into mid or early to mid next year before any significant change is made. Now, if this volume keeps pumping in and price keeps pumping up and things just keep moving and grooving to the upside and nothing's disappearing, or no magic tricks, anything like that, then I think we could, or at least I would, start to change my analysis on how I view Bitcoin going ahead into the future. But as of right now, I think there's going to be a lot of thrashing around, and that's what we've done in this market. I think there's probably more upside. And from there, I don't think it's necessarily going to end well, meaning that I imagine there will also be a crash to it, just like there has been in the past in Bitcoin. And the only way that's going to get overwritten is if the volume actually stays there and price is able to continuously churn upward. Of course, there's going to be, highs and lows. Nothing ever goes straight up. The charts do not grow like trees. And when they do, it never, ever ends well. So anyways, that's it for Bitcoin. That's like the longer term analysis with the short term as well. I imagine things are probably going to flounder around, chop around. This is a very, very big move. When energy gets expended, it has to be recaptured. Then once it's recaptured, it can be expended again. That recapturing of energy takes time. Again, it goes all the way back to the time element of all of this. Big, giant moves. Look at Bitcoin. Look at the monster move. A lot of energy, thrashing and thrashing and thrashing and thrashing. The market's getting tired. That's fine. What the market needs to do, the market needs to consolidate. Time. So I won't say that. I can't say that enough. I know I'm one of the few people, unless people probably watch my videos, that even talks about the time element, talks about how things are going to take a while. Everyone wants to talk about the steak, the sizzle, the sexy factor of Bitcoin going to the moon, but in reality, it's going to be a very tough and grueling market, and it has been. So anyways, that's it. I'll do another video on Wednesday. And hopefully by then I'll have a better understanding. I think by Wednesday, Thursday, we should have a good understanding on whether or not that volume is actually going to stick around and stay there. If things start washing out, again, I'm going to have to go back to my bear camp and just happily sit in my recliner there and just wait for the market to kind of, resolve itself. But anyways, we'll see what happens. Things look good. Things look good as of right now in Bitcoin. And unless there's some crazy dump overnight, things still look good, okay? So anyways, that's it. I'll do another video on Wednesday. If you guys like the video, you like the content, please like, comment, subscribe, follow. I appreciate everyone's time, everyone's support. That's why I did that update video last night. And, I want to help people out as best as I could. I was definitely hesitant because I know people do not use stops. You have to use stops when you trade. I don't even care if it's 10%, 20% lower. Use a damn stop so you can protect yourself from risk. There's no point in riding some crazy loss in hopes that the market is going to skyrocket to some ungodly number and just sit there with a pipe dream, because it never works out. So anyways, I mean, it can work out in some cases, I guess. I shouldn't say never, but there's a high probability that, if things run away too far in your portfolio, you'll get absolutely wrecked, and this market can do it. Imagine if you were one of the suckers who bought up here in 7,700. thinking Bitcoin was going to go to 20,000 overnight. There are a lot of people out there that think that. 7,700. Now you're all the way back down 1,000 points lower. You know, so anyways, that's why I was hesitant, and that's why I have to be hesitant making these videos. I cannot stress stops enough. But anyways, that's my end of the video rambling, which I don't know how many people are hanging on for. But beyond that, if you're looking to become a subscriber or thinking about it, I do have that subscription service at geometriccharts.com. I cover Bitcoin in much more thorough analysis, as well as a bunch of different altcoins, stock market, forex, and gold, and that's over at geometriccharts.com for $24.95 a month. There's no contracts at all, so if you do want to cancel after 1 month, you can. A large majority, I'd be willing to say, was like good, like 85% of everyone who joins has been there and has not left. And it's not just because of my analysis, and I'm not trying to hype it up or, you know, sell anybody on some, like, you know, crazy service, but it really comes down to the community of people, and the subscribers that I have are definitely a real blessing, and everyone is extremely helpful, and that goes beyond just like one person sharing their analysis, when you can kind of see different perspectives, and sometimes it can cloud your judgment, but sometimes it can open you up to something new that you're not looking at, and that in and of itself I think is definitely worth, you know, being a subscriber. But anyways, that's it. I'm not here to give anyone sales pitches. It's just you know, I don't talk about the geometric charts like subscription service at all, and I just thought I'd just put that out there today, just in case anyone was wondering, if anyone's on the edge. Like I said, there's no contracts at all. But anyways, that's it. Have a great day, great night.